All right, well, we're just about to get
Hi
going
guys,
here.
it's Meg here again. How you doing?
Hey, Megan, or Meg, how you doing?
Yep, I think we're
Very
okay.
well, very well.
I'll leave Shane to introduce the other session that's running at the moment. So I'll start this one off. You guys are ready to go?
Let's do it.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming in from the iMoot team. A big thank you and welcome to Chad Leaman and Ben Young. They're doing their second session in a row this morning, so they get bonus points for that, I think. I'm going to let them introduce themselves because I'll get something wrong, so I'm going to hand over now to the guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks so much. We got a couple people coming in here at the end. So I'm just gonna hide that penguin and hopefully repress my frustration at unable to beat pretty much anyone else's score at that game. Hope you guys are doing well. Little curious where you're from, what time is it? Uh, Ben and I were in Vancouver, BC, and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon here, so just towards the end of our work days. But feel free in the chat, let us know your place on this globe and the time of day. Uh, okay. I think our last session, we had some people come in a few minutes late, so we might have missed them in the kind of roll call where people are tagging in from here. Um, but I think Karen, fellow BC person. Very nice, very nice. Are you an independent, Karen, or did you work with a certain institution? And Vinny, I've been following you on Twitter there. Kind of know you a little bit through the things. Okay, great. Well, so there's me and Ben's pictures up on the screen. I'm the fellow on the right, with the longer hair and the glasses. And that's Ben on the left. Ben, your mic working? You'll just say hello.
I sure hope it is. Hi, everyone. I'm Ben from Lambda Solutions. I work as an application specialist here, and today we were presenting the My Moodle Mobile. Just trying to say that so it doesn't flow off the tongue as smooth as one would believe.
Yeah, the making your Moodle mobile. There's at some point, I'm sure in the presentation, where my tongue will just say, it's not happening, and I'll just kind of, make other sounds as we go here. So you guys can keep a scorecard on who trips over that more, Ben or I, as we get going. So Ben and I, we both work for Lambda Solutions, which is a Moodle partner here in Canada since 2007. Been working with Moodle since 2003. And we provide a wide range of Moodle services from hosting, customization, training, consulting, course development. Created some plugins and modules. Certificate module, I believe, Ben. Any other sort of big Moodle thing that I'm missing
Yeah,
from Lambda?
there was just a reporting feature for the certificate module, and there's been a few other plugins along the way here and there. So.
Great. So we primarily mostly serve people in North America, but it's great to kind of connect with Moodlers around the world through the iMoot. Uh, we have had two sessions in the iMoot. The activity completion, which just finished before this, and now this is the making your Moodle mobile session, and this is the second go around of it. So this is our our last call in terms of presenting here at the iMoot. So I hope you guys have been enjoying yourselves. I think all the keynote presentations are done now. I'm not positive that. I'm not sure if there's one more keynote or not. I think Martin Dugiamis was on at some time while I was sleeping. That was the most recent keynote. Okay, so we will get rolling here. Now, I'm a PC guy. I have seen some people that have used um, Articulate. I can't remember what it's called, but some sort of, you Mac people have it so easy, where you can actually clone your fancy iDevice up into your Mac screen, share it out, no problem. Us PC guys, not so lucky. So we've taken screenshots of some of the features here that we want to show you of making your Moodle mobile. And but feel free to bounce things along the way if you know you got curious questions. We might not be able to answer them all, but we'll do our best to try to give you a bit of a 411 on making your Moodle mobile. So in Moodle 2.1, there was an introduction of an ability to set different themes if different devices were detected. So it could actually detect whether you're coming from your laptop computer or that fancy computer that you call a phone that's in your pocket. And then in Moodle 2.2, there's now a standard theme as part of core for smartphones and tablets. So there's actually a default theme that's built to more optimize for the mobile user of Moodle. So mobile, all right, there's one on my scorecard. My mobile was developed by John Saint, and he's doing some work currently right now in terms of Moodle 2.3 integrations and a lot of back-end sort of optimization stuff from last time I checked with them where he's at. So the big hat tip for this goes to John Saint for kind of laying the foundation for a lot of this work. Now, what we're going to be talking about here is based as a Moodle 2.2. Okay, so you just might want to keep that caveat. If you're on 2.1, might be a little different. And I don't know if anyone is. I don't think 2.3 is out quite yet. But please, in the chat box, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's sort of a alpha. Okay, so it's right on the cusp. So you know this might need some slight tweaking as a 2.3 when it comes out here. But for a lot of you, I'm sure you're kind of at 2.2 or moving towards 2.2 and going that direction. Okay, just a quick reason, you know, why should I care about if my Moodle is mobile? I'm getting better at this the more I've said it, actually. The the value of mobile is definitely not, you know, for every user, but is a great thing to consider if your learners are on the move or have some activities they're doing outside the classroom. You know, if you have students that are taking the bus back and forth, they might be looking at the course notes on the way to or from. Or if it's like a business organization, maybe use Moodle to host a repository of documents, so to give staff easy access on a portable device while they're on the road. Just to give you an idea of how much the smartphone market is growing, in 2012 it passed PC sales. So it's now the big driver, as I'm sure you've seen in terms of computer sales, is your smartphones, and it's closely approaching the world population, the number of cell phones in circulation. So it's definitely something that you should be consider. The web is certainly going mobile. People's access is going mobile, especially in some second and third world countries, where you know the laptops initiatives are still going, but they're going mobile. That seems to be the predominant way in many countries of people accessing internet and online information. So it's something you should consider too as you are designing along the way. So we want to give you some sort of tips and tricks on how to get started, what things work well, what things you should consider, and things you should be leery of when going mobile with your Moodle. Okay. Oh, I still got my markups from last time. Okay, I'll skip back. Maybe before I do that, maybe Ben, could you show us how we enable mobile themes on our Moodle site?
Yeah, certainly. So just give me a second here while I bring up my screen sharing.
Oh, just one sec. They've turned the lights off here at the office. I think we're going to set the alarm. So let me just make sure you guys can hear the alarm go off in the background. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Cheers.
Okay, so while Chad's doing that, I will go here and start sharing my screen. You should be seeing that any moment now. Okay, so I hope everyone can see my screen, and please let me know if the text, the font going up is large enough. If not, I could always increase the size. Perfect. All right, so I've logged in as an administrator, and the question is, how do I set the mobile themes on your Moodle site. So what you'd want to do, and this is an administration setting, so I have to be administrator, is go to the settings block. From the settings block, go to site administration, and from there to appearances. And we have themes, which I'm just going to expand, and I'm going to go to our theme selector. So the page that loads is going to show us the device detection that Chad mentioned before. So Moodle has a number of different devices that it's been programmed to detect for, and based on which device you're using, it's going to try and match up and provide to you the best theme for whatever device you're working with. So we see here under the device type we have defaults. That's just when somebody visits the site with a regular computer. We have a legacy, which is intended more for the people using older browsers. And then we have down here a mobile, and then we also have further down a tablet. The My Moodle mobile theme does work for tablets and for your smartphones or your mobile phones. So if we were to, let's say, set the mobile option here, what we do is we go to select theme. When we push that button, you'll see that there's a large list of themes that come up that are available on your site. So in this case, we have more than a few installed. But if I were to scroll down, you'll be able to see it should indicate which theme is currently selected. So we see that there's a nice box surrounding this theme here, the My Moodle mobile theme. And if I were to select a theme, I would just click on the Use Theme button beside it. When that happens, a page will load just with some of the theme configurations and settings, and from there the theme should be enabled for that device type.
Great, great, and yeah, so that's just what Stephen was asking there too. So yeah, you can have a theme for your regular PC or laptop or Mac user, and then a separate theme for your mobile user. But it's still the same Moodle site, right? It's not different clones of sites or anything like that, right?
Yep, it's still the same Moodle site. It just works on that detection. So it's the one site. It'll have your user going to it, and it'll say, okay, what browser, what kind of device is this user on? And then it'll try and again match up and display that theme for that user.
Okay, great, great. Okay, well let's take a look here, Ben, and see some of the things in our Moodle course, how it might look on my on my mobile device.
All right, so I'll stop
Are
sharing
you?
my screen. And hopefully your PowerPoint comes back there.
There we go. There we go. So, like I said, this is the second one of doing it, and it looks like it remembers what I did the first time. Oh, hey, there we go. I don't know how I got rid of it, but I did. Actually, I kind of like this green arrow thing better. This works better. Okay. So your course page. Gives you a bit of an idea of how your course page looks on your mobile device. Okay. So your navigation is head right here. Okay. So if you click that navigation, it kind of shows almost like a stack. So it will show your main home page, your course page, and then your activity. So you can kind of click that to kind of go up a level, so to speak. It shows that sort of breakdown of structure. It's kind of like a file hierarchy. Okay, so that's where your navigation is hidden. It's right there on the top. If you were part of our completion tracking and not just the last session here a few minutes ago, it does actually show completion tracking. I don't have that in the screenshot here, but your completion tracking does actually show as you go through. So that sort of Moodle 2 feature also carries along forward with it. Settings. You actually have a fair amount of settings here, but this isn't your admin settings. This isn't like editing the settings for your course. This is more kind of your user profile settings that are hid underneath that there. And then you can jump to different sections in your course or look at different blocks. Okay, but like a lot of mobile themes, it kind of minimizes a lot of the clutter, hides some of the navigation and top or bottom buttons. In this case, it's at the top here. There are some bottom buttons that we'll cover in a bit. And your main course content kind of goes down the center of the page here. So it's pretty easy to see your course section and your resources that are in it. Okay, so that's the navigation. Ben, you want to talk a bit about what the forums do?
Yeah, sure. So the forms we went through, and as you can see here, there's a screenshot of just the front page or the starting page of the form where you can add in discussions. But it's nice because you can add new threads to forms, you can reply to forms. You'll see the responses usually in like that nice format still, so it displays the information nicely. And the good thing is that it allows you to do this subscription mode from your phone too. The one thing that we found when working in the forms that's very tricky and can't really access is the ability to upload a file or attachment to your forms. There's some limitations that are based on that we'll touch on a little bit later. But the form does display nicely, and it's a very functional piece in Moodle, so it allows your students to communicate with each other and your instructors on the go.
Okay, great. The page resource. Your typical sort of HTML page in Moodle translates really well to a mobile device. Your text will wrap appropriately and kind of matches to the new resolution of your screen. Video will work. We got the asterisk there. If it's a flash video and it's an Apple device, then it's not going to work. But if you embed a YouTube video, um, it it works really well, and it actually renders to full screen. And even if you have pictures in your course, it'll show well too. So I think I got another screenshot just kind of showing that here. Yeah. So you can see the video. It looks like it's chopped, but it's not. When you click the play, like you've probably seen if you watched a YouTube video on your phone before, it actually takes the whole screen, plays it, and then it brings you, bam, right back into your class. And same in your picture. Your picture still shows up in your course, in your site. One thing to be wary of, if you have, that really nice, big, beautiful header picture that you force to be 600 pixels wide, well then, you're going to run into some issues here with your page viewing. Stephen,
So is
we're sorry, just one sec, Ben. I just see your question, Stephen. If you want to hold that, we're going to actually cover the Moodle app coming up here towards the end. So good question. We're headed that way. All right, Ben. I'll bounce the ball in your court. Did you have a question, Ben?
no, I was just going to ask the image restrictions there, but you covered that, so we'll move on to the folder. So the folder activity in Moodle traditionally allows you to display a set of files to your user, and as you can see here, the files are accessible to your user. They show up in a nice nested format here, so you can create a bit of a hierarchy or a structure to your files that you're providing to the user. And the nice thing is that these options, these windows open up in a new browser window. So it allows you to keep your current page open, but you can also open the document or the file up in a different window and view it and then close it, of course, when appropriate. It some options to allow for other apps to hook in, but there are some limitations where the information isn't embedded into this area. So that's something to consider. Is the information shown here doesn't embed. It's opening in secondary windows.
Great. Yeah. I mean, I've used this before when you kind of get a PDF, and I don't know if it's actually the irony. The other session is Moodle in the cloud right now. So you can kind of open a PDF, and then it gives you the option. Do you want to put this in your Dropbox? At which point, yeah, that's great. Then I have it there for me in the future with certain things. Stephen, recommendation for Max Pickles. I'm doing so well making your Moodle mobile, and I call the pixel a pickle. I don't know that off the top of my head, but maybe that's something that we could probably find a quick Google here. So we'll see if we can kind of source that out before we all step away at the end of this here. Good question. It's a very good question. Okay, the book. I got all the easy ones here. The book is a lot like the page. Same thing. Text is scaled to fit quite nicely. We got our little previous and next buttons. right there, right? So just easy, kind of scan through. Helps break it down a little bit. A book with short pages might be a little bit better on a Moodle site than, one resource with long text. There's been some studies done that show people don't retain as much information when they read it on a smaller screen than on a larger one. So this can kind of help chunk your content a little bit. When you get to the last resource, that next button flips to the up button, you click that, and it takes you right back to your course page. So the book resource works really well on your Moodle site.
Okay, the assignment. For the online text, it works well. For the other variations of the assignment module, it will allow you to ask a student to submit a document back up there. We found that the upload file feature, again, there's some limitations there where the file picker comes up and it kind of takes up the whole screen and you have to scroll a lot to start to use it. And the other issue is it's sometimes hard to upload a file from your phone to Moodle. So the file picker is good for any existing files that are on there. So if a student's already added something to their private files, they can access it that way. But again, it's going to be clunky. But to add new files in from their phone, they're going to find that it's difficult to do. So that is some limitations and some considerations to keep in mind when working with the assignment type activity and going with a mobile approach.
Great, okay. The quiz. The quiz actually works really well on your mobile device. And actually, I did a little bit of reading here in another session. I can't really remember where I acquired this information in the iMoot. There used to be a separate fork for sort of mobile quizzes, and then they didn't worry about it so much because it got kind of built very well with this mobile Moodle, my Moodle. So various quiz formats, they work really well. You can get your multiple choice, no problem. You just check your answer, flick to keep on scrolling down. Yeah, you can do your written answer right. You can click in there and write your answer, no problem. True, false, just like the multiple choice. And even get the results of the quiz. It can show when you started, your grades. It's really full featured. My one carrot or caveat, carrot, one caveat would be, if it's, write 1,000 words on blah 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 blah. That's, not going to be a fun essay to type on your mobile phone. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm scared of what
Especially you've probably
autocorrect would
seen.
do.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, I can barely get through a text message without a typo or a grammar mistake, right? I can only imagine what 1,000 words of that would look like. It would not be pretty. Um, but yeah, if you had like a Bluetooth keyboard, and actually I was at a conference, Stephen. It's kind of neat, where there was a fair amount of blind people, and so they use a Bluetooth keyboard to their phone, and that's it. So you don't even see their phone. It just kind of they type and it goes right into it. So it looks really weird, like they're typing on a keyboard that's not plugged to anything. But yeah, if you change your input device, you might be able to do quite a lot with it. Yeah, it's a question up there. I missed that. So you can upload photos or video taken from a mobile to the mobile course there, despite the limitations. How to upload? We're about to cover that there. That's where the app kind of comes in. So we'll look at that here in a second. All right, so that's the quiz. Ben, you want to cover the calendar?
Sure. So the calendar feature is accessible using the there's a
One
strike
all,
for me on
one
the
all.
one all, yeah. But for the My Moodle mobile theme, got it that time. It does work, and you can see that you can view events. One thing that you can't really do is you can't create new entries in the calendar using the mobile theme, but you can view them. And then of course you can always export as an iCalendar and then sync that to your other calendars. So it's possible to export, but it doesn't automatically sync. So there's some manual processes involved, but you can get things exported from one system to the other.
Great. Okay. Oops. There we go. Thanks, Ben. Um, The messages. You also have the messages. So the calendar and the messages, I believe, are found on buttons at the bottom of your course page there. The messages, it looks very similar actually to how messaging works in your Moodle site. Even to the point that, if you haven't sent a new message in Moodle, when you log in to your mobile Moodle site, it does pop up on top of your course, just as it does in your regular sort of Moodle course. And it's fairly fully featured. That's a different alliteration I tripped over. You can read your messages, you can reply, you can create new messages, you can add contacts, kind of sort your contacts or delete, block. So you have all those sort of features. But it's not maybe as smooth as a messaging system as, let's say, your text messaging or your Facebook chat. It does kind of have all this sort of header information at the top, and your messages between somebody and you actually kind of comes beneath. So it's you kind of have all the features, but because of that, you have some extra interface that you're looking at along the way. Okay, so we got a bit of a scorecard, and this just a quick flashback. So maybe I'll just quickly touch on the glossary here because we didn't have a screenshot of it. The glossary works and works quite well, but it loads everything. So its default view is all. So if you have a giant glossary with a lot of pictures and someone hits that on their mobile device, you're going to be pounding that data plan. Or it might be quite a long load time, depending how big that glossary is. Okay. In terms of other resources, your basic sort of page resource works well, shows text, shows video, shows pictures. Your form works fairly well too. Just again, we got that issue with uploading documents, right? That's where it can get a little clunky. And the file picker doesn't shrink nicely to the size, so it kind of pushes the width of your browsing and scrolling left and right a little bit more. The folder resource works fairly well, and again, those resources can be hooked up into other apps. So if you open a PDF or a Word doc and you have something like Dropbox or QuickOffice on your device, it can kind of get thrown into that app. So that's nice. The book is very straightforward, works as you'd expect. The quiz is fairly well implemented. Again, just the medium is the message. You might not want to be writing your final term paper on your Android phone. Assignment, yeah, the upload again, right? The upload is really where you're going to have an issue. You can pick a file through the file picker, remember. You just can't upload something. The calendar works relatively well. You can see events, but you can't create new ones. And the messages, it works well, but it's maybe not as pretty as some of the other text messaging or WhatsApp thing that you've been using to communicate in real time with people. So there's your scorecard. Now, if you just kind of want your Coles notes, your scorecard, think this is the real valuable kind of hammer thing for you. These slides are posted in our iMoot course, so you can grab the slides and take a look and grab a whole list. So that's there for you. So some limitations. Do you want to cover the limitations, Ben? And then I think the app is next. I can cover that.
Sure. So as mentioned, some of the limitations of the My Moodle theme is the file picker, as mentioned, stretches the width, and you have to do a lot of fancy finger work to scroll around there to see some of the files that are available. And of course, there's the upload trouble, as meant. The theme is designed primarily for teachers and students to take part in a course and facilitate the activities in a course. The design wasn't really meant for the administration of a course, so it's not for admins. So you'll find that some of the administration features aren't accessible, or it's just very awkward to try and do some of the administration using the theme, the My Moodle. So it's recommended, of course, to use a PC for that. From some browsing around on different Moodle or different mobile sites in general, and this isn't directed to anyone in particular, because I've seen it on a number of different mobile sites, is sometimes the browser's back and forth button within the device itself causes pages to load on a mobile site awkwardly, or it causes them to load and it doesn't quite display properly. So what I usually recommend is whenever you're viewing a site on a mobile device and it has a mobile theme, to use the navigation buttons provided for you as much as possible to avoid situations like that, because I find that the functionality, the workflow, the information usually loads much cleaner that way versus using the devices buttons that are provided back and forth. And there's another caveat to using the exam, that the browser security window, if you're taking the exam on the mobile device and the browser security window is being enabled, that there's some issues where it may not load properly and it could cause the quiz not to be accessible. So if you know that your students are taking the exam using a smartphone, I would recommend to make sure that that security feature is actually disabled instead of having it enabled.
Great, great.
And
Well, some
best practices.
some yeah, some best practices and things. We talked about some of the limitations there. What are some things that you should do? You want to remember that if they are accessing your resources primarily through a mobile device, that's really going to change how you want to design your course. So for example, if long articles, not really going to work well. If you have big giant high-res pictures, that could be a very expensive file to access if you're doing it from your 3G network on your data plan. So quite often audio is a great thing that people consume through their mobile device, or short snippets or a little burst of things. So you want to keep that in mind a little bit. For your resources, you want to link. You don't want to embed. You can run into a fair amount of issues there with your mobile device. So you want to link out to resources. Video, MP4 is your, that's your kind of your silver bullet that's going to work across platforms, and YouTube. So I mean, I know not every institution will use YouTube to host videos, but if you're sharing your videos on a social site or you're open to that, it's great. You let YouTube figure out how it works on all the different devices, and you can just embed it in your course as you go through. And I'm not sure if this is if I have this on my clipboard anymore. No, I don't. That link there, again, this link is in our iMoot course for this session, so you can take a look. It's an open Moodle course designed or based on how to design for mobile learning environments. And actually, when we gave the session the first time, the iMoot, the fellow that designed this was in our session, and I didn't even know that. So some worlds colliding there. So if you're thinking that you're going to be designing primarily for a mobile environment, you can. There's a free open Moodle course right there. It's linked in our iMoot course. To really give that a go and to kind of learn some best practices and lessons learned from someone that's basically kind of done a lot of work in it. So you don't have to figure it out by yourself. Someone else has done a lot of the legwork and left a breadcrumb trail for you going forward.
So
The app.
as
Sorry,
mentioned,
go ahead. Yeah, you're on.
the app. Yeah. So there is an app for that, but kind of. The app is still still in a development phase, I would say, or not development. They're still adding features to it. And the nice thing about the app is it does have some advantages over the theme. And the theme has, of course, advantages over the app, but some of those are the ability of uploading pictures, videos, and recorded audio. So the app does allow you to do that. So that's a big advantage there that we saw that the theme has some issues with. The participants, you can see some of the participants on your phone, and of course you can access your course. And I know that a version or a feature they're looking at adding is the ability to save content while you're online and take it with you while you're offline. So that's a nice feature that the app will have. The app also supports multiple logins, so you can actually log in as different users using the app. And one of the downsides, of course, of the app is it's geared towards more of the iPhone right now, and I believe later on it's going to be redeveloped and released for the Android. So there are some limitations there versus the theme where it's developed extensively for both iPhone and Android platforms. So there's some comparisons there. Kind of gives you an idea of what's different between the two.
Great. I've not played with any of the other. There are some other Moodle apps out there, done by third parties, um, whatnot. A couple of people brought them up in the last session. I'm not sure if any of the participants have used any other sort of Moodle app outside the formal one. I believe this one is called My Moodle in your app store. Oh, Stephen, interesting point there. Yeah, when I last looked at the site, they said they were kind of looking at Christmas for a launch, and that was set in November. So I'm not sure if it was like, like a month from now or like 13 months from now when they mentioned the Android app. M-Touch. Has anyone actually used M-Touch along the way? I've not seen it. Maybe that's something that we can maybe look at the next time that we give that or dig down. I mean, the nice thing about it is our mobile Moodle is that you do have through the web browser a fairly full functional thing, right? It's not a whole separate design or whatnot, right? It's through your mobile theme. The majority of things work very well. Your file pickers were going to come an issue, but you do have the iPhone app to kind of actually get files up there and then in your course, to tag them in. So yeah, I've heard that about the Droodle. It basically only shows assignments, just all the work. Okay, some interesting chatter there about other people's alternative app experience. Great. Yeah, so same slide deck as last time, so same problem as last time. I'm plugging the same session as opposed to the activity completion session, which we've actually already now completed twice. So there's not really need to plug anything, but those resources are up there along the way. And there is another mobile session, and I think it's called Designing for Mobile in 30 Minutes. And I believe it has already had its second session, but don't quote me on that. But again, kind of share and share alike. In our iMoot Moodle course, I linked to that Moodle mobile I'm struggling. Best practices course, and also that other iMoot section. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers what we were hoping to cover with our Making Your Moodle Mobile session. Um, if you need help in designing a particular theme for it, or some support and training options, us people at Lambda, we'd be happy to give you a hand with that. Any other questions before we go? Any other questions? I believe Stephen did ask the ideal resolution. Don't totally quote me on this, but your iPhone resolution is 960 by 640. So 640 might be kind of, once you get past that, you're going to be scrolling left and right. But that
Or you'll
might not
have to
be
tilt.
perfect. Sorry, Ben, what was that?
Yeah, or you'll have to tilt. The theme also supports the wide version too, so you can actually tilt your screen and it'll adjust for that. So it's two variations that you can keep in mind is the other width too. So there's two options to consider.
Right. All right. Anyone else have any questions that you would like us to address here? Okay, well the text chat looks quiet. I do find that every time I turn off my microphone in Adobe Connect, my computer crashes. So that might that might happen to me again here. And actually it says not responding now, so I don't know if you can still hear me. Oh. Okay, yeah, there we go. I'm back. Opinion on where mobile learning is going. Okay. That would be I don't know. I mean, I certainly could see more sort of real-time interactive mobile things, and I was actually pretty impressed with the Adobe Connect and its ability to work well on my tablet. But you see some of the schools buying clickers for like classroom interaction. I think, do we really need another device, or can that not be done on a device that already exists? So maybe some more real-time blended learning thing where, it's a way of communicating in large groups. Um, I've also seen, and I've seen that a little bit in this conference, sometimes more in other conferences, where the hashtag for the conference is really, or for a class. I've seen it with a few classes. Alacuros uses it a lot, where they, uh, what's his name, Dr. Raoul something or another. He uses hashtags for his class as kind of a way to sort of have people connect. So it's very mobile in terms of having people kind of when they're taking notes, tweet it out, use a hashtag, and then he kind of does a storify across it to kind of grab things. So it is a new way to kind of connect and collaborate. I don't know, uh, pros and cons compared to face-to-face learning, but there's lots of new ways and inventive ways, and it may not always be the greatest way, but sometimes a different way to kind of connect people or engage people. Sometimes it's new and novel to kind of connect people. Yeah, Stephen, I've used Poll Everywhere, and you can kind of tweet results at things, or send a text message, or actually just use your good old-fashioned web browser too to kind of select things, and it gives you kind of real-time updating. So it's pretty cool. How have you been? Any opinions on the future of mobile learning?
I know that there's a lot of institutions, like post-secondary institutions, that are requesting for their mobile or for their online learning to be mobile. So it's a trending that we're seeing. It's happening a lot for post-secondary, and I found that also in the medical industry, there's a lot of online that's starting to take off, and with that, they want the information to be accessible through somebody's tablet or smartphone. So that's something that they're definitely considering. I think as time progresses, it's just going to become more of a standard type expectation where, to have that full online package that, institutions or organizations will have to have that mobile capability to their content.
Yeah, I agree. The future is certainly mobile, and it enables a lot of different things. And yeah, I've seen some actually enhanced field trip stuff, Aaron, where people are you know you know taking photos of like things in in a park or on like a field trip or whatnot, and then kind of collecting that data, and then maybe filling it in by blogging about it a little bit later on. So just new ways to kind of, yeah, exactly, expand the classroom. It's no longer your bricks and mortar. It's and not always tethered to where you have an internet connection in your office or in your at your desk at home, right? You can kind of learn and go anywhere. I was at the online course showcase in Canada, and this was at the end of November 2011, and they had a theme on kind of innovations in mobile learning, and one was with the Justice Institute, and they train a lot of first responders, um, and so they have an online course that is available through a tablet device, but it's almost like they're using it as a little bit more as a repository, so they can pull out building schematics or code or what to do when you get to a fire with a certain toxic thing and have that in real time. They said before they used to have part of the fire truck that was just full of binders and binders and binders for all these use cases, and now it's all on their touch screen, through the and all courseware that basically has a login that kind of allows them in, and they have volumes of information with them. So a variety of uses in a variety of cases. Yeah, and if anyone else has any other cool ideas about the possibilities of mobile learning, feel free to drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we're pretty much wrapped up here. You can hop on over and catch there's another chat presenting in the other room about there you go, Ben. You won. I tripped up on the last go. Moodle in the cloud. Moodle in the cloud,
All I
which
have to do
again,
is
I think.
avoid saying mobile Moodle, and I can win this. Yeah. I think there was one last question that was posted too. It just had a question regarding how Moodle themes, how regular themes will appear on the device. A lot of it is dependent upon the Moodle theme, but generally you can go to Moodle site, and if they don't have any mobile themes enabled, the regular theme will work. It's just they have to do a lot of resizing to view the content. Sometimes the navigation is a little bit more difficult to use, so they have to, again, resize and zoom in to use the content. So it is accessible. It does show the content. It does offer that the functionality, but it makes it a little bit more clunky, that the user has to go and do a lot more zooming and a lot more work to get to it. So the regular themes usually do work, except they're not as smooth and as slick as the My Moodle mobile theme. Excellent.
Well, I think that
So it looks like
Great, guys.
no more questions, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, looks good.
Well, again, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Meg, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Ben and Chad, on behalf of the iMoot team. Another very interesting presentation, actually. Like I think Stephen, I'm interested to see which way it goes and how we go forward with mobile learning. So yes, thank you very much. As with all the other presentations, you will be able to access this one in the course afterwards. Thank you very much.